37. This has been the most terrifying, bumpiest, darkest, gloomiest, saddest, most loving, enlightening, fulfilling, peaceful ride to the greatest place I have ever imagined I would go. To think just a few years ago, I had completely lost sight of myself. Fast forward to today, and I've never seen life clearer. Yet somehow I can't help but feel like something is missing, which makes no sense when I say it out loud. Because if I'm honest, I have more clarity now than I ever had in my entire life. Clarity in my vision, clarity in my goals, clarity in my happiness, my peace, clarity of my soul. Spiritually, I feel the best I've ever felt. I feel like I'm finally the version of myself I once only dreamed about becoming. Not only dreamed about it, but battled myself for years, trying to believe I was even deserving of becoming him. The battle wasn't really with the world, it was with myself, with the version of me I could see in my mind, and the version of me that kept whispering that someone like me could never actually become that person. All my flaws, all my fears, all my insecurities, for the longest time, I convinced myself that this kind of freedom doesn't happen to people like me. And yet, here I am, whole, full, grateful for a life I never imagined I would experience. And still, something inside me keep whispering that this isn't the end of the journey, that there's still something waiting for me, something unfinished, something I can't quite see yet, but I can feel it, like a destination I somehow know exists, even though I've never been there before. And honestly, I don't know what to do with that feeling. I don't know what the next step is supposed to be. I don't even know what starting looks like anymore. All I know is that that feeling won't leave me alone. And since you're the one person I figure might understand, I thought I'd ask you, if you feel whole, what makes you believe something is missing? Great question. Because honestly, someone standing where I stand is probably supposed to be content with life. My life is filled with the things I've spent a lifetime praying for. I could settle into the comfort of it all and call this a beautiful life, and there would be nothing wrong with that, no harm in it. But I can't. Something inside me refuses to settle. It keeps pulling at me, like there's still something I'm meant to do, something I'm meant to create, something to leave my loved ones, something that might free people in ways they didn't know they needed. The part of life most of us spend years searching for without ever being able to name it. And the strange thing is, I feel like I've already touched it. Like the answer is already somewhere inside of me, but I don't know what to do with it. Sometimes it almost feels like life itself is standing in front of me saying, I'm trying to hand you something. And somehow I'm just standing there, unable to recognize what it is. I can feel that there's more waiting for me. I just can't seem to find it. And then I start feeling selfish for even thinking that way, because there are people out there who would love to be standing where I'm standing right now. People who would be grateful just to have what I already have. And here I am, still feeling like something is unfinished. What makes you believe you haven't already found it? Maybe I have found it. And somehow that creates even more questions. Because if I have, then what? What am I supposed to do with that? Where do I even begin? I don't fit the description of the kind of person who usually carries meaning like this, or at least I don't think I do. Sometimes it feels like there's still so much about me that would need to change before I could actually do what I feel called to do. And then the doubt starts showing up. Like, what if I create? Like, what if what I create isn't as profound as what I think it is? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm just crazy? Maybe it's my own perspective getting in the way. Maybe I'm the one placing limits on something that hasn't even been given a chance to exist yet. Because if I'm being honest, I do believe I have the tools. I believe I have the ability to create something meaningful. And yet, I still doubt my ability to deliver it, which sounds a lot like fear when I hear it out loud. If fear is the only thing standing in the way, why are you listening to it? A hell of a question. I don't even know if I have a good answer for that. I didn't realize it was fear until just now. I thought I had already dealt with that. I've been working on myself for years, learning how to move without letting fear control me. At least that's what I believed. But standing here now, hearing it out loud, I could see it hasn't really left, just changed form. It's not as loud as it used to be, not even as constant. But the parts of it I still listen to, they carry just as much weight. Maybe it's been my default for so long that I stopped recognizing it. Like background noise you don't even notice anymore. And somehow, without realizing it, I've still been listening to it. If you can see it now, why does it still get to decide what you do next? If I'm being honest, it doesn't decide anymore. I can see that now. I think I just have a hard time fully letting my beliefs stay. Fear has been my default for so long that it just still tries to speak first. I mean, I thought I moved past it already, but standing here, I can see it never really left. It's quieter, it's less obvious, but the parts of it I still listen to, still somehow carry that weight. So I've been giving it a voice, even though I know better, because deep down, I know it's not deciding anything anymore. I am. I trust where this is going. I trust what I've been shown. I trust what I feel, think. I was just looking for something more, a clearer answer, a plan, something to confirm that I'm not crazy for thinking the way that I do, something to make it all make sense before I fully step into it. If you already trust where it's going, what are you waiting to be shown? Hmm, maybe nothing. Maybe I've just been waiting to feel ready, waiting for it to look a certain way, waiting for something outside of me to confirm what I already know inside. But I can see it now. That moment might never come. And maybe it was never supposed to. Maybe the next step was never about knowing more. Maybe it was just about moving or not even moving, just allowing. Because if I'm being really honest, I already know. I know what I'm meant to do. I know what I'm meant to create. I know the direction this is going. And I know it's already unfolding. I've seen it. I felt it. So maybe the question was never what's next. Maybe it's whether or not I'm willing to let it happen, to stop trying to control it, to stop trying to define it, to just be present enough to let it come through me. Because the more I think about it, the more it feels like I was never meant to force the next step. Just recognize it when it appears and trust it when it does. Then will you allow it now? I will keep trying.